We're here with Eddie Farmer here in Lead Hill, Arkansas, his home overlooking the Bull Shoals Lake. We're having a great time here, hearing all kinds of historical facts and also humorous facts. I don't know whether fairy tales or fiction or facts, but we're listening to a lot of stuff anywhere, right?
Right.
Share with us something.
Well, another thing about my grandfather, when they came back here, he had a sorghum mill, and he made molasses for about everybody around here, and they'd start, he was on the flat place over out off beside the house, kind of out in front over there, and he'd start putting the pulp that they'd grind the juice out of in a big circle, and he'd leave a gap in it.
The pulp is what's left over after they get the sorghum out.
After they get the juice out, after they run through the juice, yeah. And he'd pile that stuff up real high, and he'd get it, it'd be 4-7 foot high sometimes, big round circle, and he'd leave a gap in it. Well, when he'd get through making molasses, he'd go buy a bunch of pigs and put a wire gap across that, and then when they eat their way out and eat it all down, he'd take and sell them, but he fattened them up on that. That's how he got rid of it. He just put it in a big circle and
they ate themselves out.
Ate themselves out of it.
I've seen some people try to do that, haven't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I've seen a lot of people do that too.
Not us, of course.
No.
We were talking about some other people.
Talking about other people. That's right.
Yeah,
that's
right.
exactly right.
Yeah.
But you know, I can remember back we had a telephone, believe it or not, before we had electricity.
Was it this?
Yes. Mr. Kellogg down here, he cut cedar poles and run the lines everywhere. But our ring was 2 longs and a short, but it didn't make any difference because there was about 8 or 10 on there, and every time it'd ring, everybody did just like echo, hello, 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 everybody. And you didn't have any private conversation back then. And there used to be an old guy that lived by himself, and he'd get on there and they'd say, Mr. Sanders, are you on the phone? Yes, I am, and go ahead and talk, because I'm not getting off. He said. but that's the way it was back then days. But then, and a lot of people around here had telephones because of Mr. Kellogg before we had electricity. But
well, back then too. Hold on to your story, but back then there was no TV.
No
entertainment at all.
No.
Possibly some people might have a radio. I don't know whether they did or not.
Yeah, that's right.
But the only entertainment they had was listening to people on the party line.
Right.
I mean, that was really something.
That's right.
Just go ahead and talk, and we'll listen to you.
Yep.
I mean, I can understand that. We don't understand it today, but that's the way it was.
That's the way it was. You talk about radio. We had one. It was about the size of a jukebox, set in a corner. And I remember it had a Rayovac battery. It was blue and yellow. It's probably 2 foot long, 8 inches high, about 6 inches wide. And on Saturday night, my dad would get the Grand Ole Opry. Well, my grandpa, all of them listened to Grand Ole Opry. Had to have everything done. But I think it was shortwave had cut in on it. And they was the boss. They sit by the radio, and then they'd keep it dialed in all the time. He'd go to cutting out and he'd dial. But you couldn't, if you said anything, you went outside because had to be quiet and listen to the Grand Ole Opry.
Oh, I can remember my daddy.
Yeah.
That tongue going to jaw.
Yeah.
Boy, you don't talk while we're trying to listen, man.
Yeah.
Boy, he'd get excited when you started to talk.
Oh, yeah.
It was on,
Yeah,
couldn't hear with you talking.
That's right.
Kind of like the guy who bought the brand new radio and he liked the Grand Ole Opry so much he took it home, dialed in the Grand Ole Opry and took the knobs off. He liked the Grand Ole Opry.
He liked the real. Didn't know he didn't change it. That's right. Yeah. But that's like the guy told one time, said, "You get the Grand Ole Opry on church?" No. He said, "I live so far back in the hills." He said, "I don't get it till Wednesday." But that's why. But a lot of people around here. We had a guy that Mr. Roper. He lived over here at down toward Horseshoe Bend, and he lived in an old log house. And he always come to the Legion meetings, and they had the Legion meetings down here, or VFW, in an old store. Used to be an old show house down here by John Noel Austin's old store down here in Lead Hill, down the hill under Lead Hill.
In the old town.
Yeah. And it wasn't the old town, but it was on this new road that come in there. But anyway, he said that, they said, "Well, do you live very far off the road?" He said, "No." He said, "I live back far." But he said, "Not far enough." And he said, "Well, why?" And all he had was an old motorcycle. That's all he rode all the time. Didn't have a vehicle. And they said, "Well," Mr. Roper said, "Well, if you don't live back far enough," said, "you live quite a ways off the road." He said, "I'd like to live so far back that I had to pack my lunch to go to the mailbox. But he was a good old guy too. I remember him quite well.
It reminds me of the guy who was from Arkansas, from Lead Hill, matter of fact. And he went down to Texas to see his best friend. He hadn't seen him in years. He moved down there. He got down there, and the guy said to him, well, everything's big in Texas. I don't know how it is in Lead Hill, Boone County, but everything's big down here. He said, man, everything's big. Texas is so big. He said, tell you what, said, I can get in my pickup truck and start in the morning to drive to the other side of my property, and it takes me all day long. The old boy from Lead Hill said, man, if I had a truck like that, I'd trade it off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.